Hey, One Up family. So I wanted to take this time to talk about Fromsoftware's Duskbloods coming exclusively to the Switch 2 and the Elden Ring release on the Switch 2. So there was an article with Hidetaka Miyazaki, the head of Fromsoftware, talking about the game. When I was seeing this game unveiled for the first time at the Switch 2 Direct, I was really excited. I love Fromsoftware. I'm a huge fan of their games. I love so many of the titles that they put out. Were so underrated and so overlooked for years and years. You go back and you play some of the earlier titles like Kingsfield, and you can really see how much creativity and just groundbreaking technology and achievements they were making in those times where most people just turned a nose up at their releases and said, "Ugh, this is horrible. Ugh, these are awful. What is this?" When in fact, they were just ahead of the time. They knew how great they were before anybody else really caught on. And it would be years before anyone really saw how amazing and talented Fromsoftware was until Miyazaki came along, took over the reins, and created Demon Souls, and then Dark Souls. And now they are one of the most praised companies in video games all around the world. Everybody loves their titles. They look forward to their titles. They are one of the most prolific AAA studios on the market. So when they announced they were putting out an exclusive Switch 2 game, I thought, oh my gosh, the Switch 2 will have its own unique Souls-like software. This is a huge win for Nintendo, a huge epic win to have them work on the game. And then the news came out that it was only going to be a live service PvP focused game. No single player, no character creator mode, PvP focused solely. And I know my hat has Majin Buu on it and looks happy right now, but I am not happy. In fact, I am so disappointed. So we're going to just turn this hat around because that's how disappointed I am. But we're going to read some of this article so we can find out more about this game. Okay, so let's hop into it. Here he says, at first it was being worked on by a small team as a title for the Nintendo Switch. However, just as the game started to take shape, we were approached by Nintendo with talk of Switch 2, which led us to revamp our development path with this new hardware in mind. And then he says something really key here. The new hardware allowed us to focus more on the online aspect of the title and stay true to the original vision as possible. So right from the beginning, this was always going to be some kind of online game. But it sounds like it would have had less of an online focus if it wasn't developed for the Switch 2. Maybe it would have had single-player aspects. I don't know. But to me, somebody that cares about preserving these games, I want a single-player option. I don't mind the online aspect or the PvP or the co-op online multiplayer of Souls games. I think that's great. But I want that single-player experience. It's important to me. And I want to be able to preserve these games. It's important to me. So it feels so soulless to release a live service game. And they have to know that live service games just don't work. Look at how many have failed on the PS4 and PS5. There was Babylon's Fall. Concord was a huge big one. There was Foam Stars. On the PS4, there was Battleborn. And there's just so many others. And it's like, that is what you're going to choose to do. That's what Fromsoftware is going to waste all their money, time, talent, and resources on. A live service game for the Nintendo Switch 2. When your fan base of Souls-like games are not even on the Switch or Switch 2 platform. Switch 1 only got Dark Souls Remastered. That's it. There was no Sekiro, no Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, none of that. None of it. So, if you were to make this game, it would make sense to put it on all of those other platforms where it could really potentially thrive. Not that a lot of live service games do thrive, but to put it on one platform exclusively and no other, where you have no fan base at, it's like you're putting it on death's door before it's already gotten out to the world. Nobody asked for this. People thought this was going to be a real narrative, lore-based, Souls-like exploration game. Instead, it's live service slop. And I know why. I know why they're doing it. It's because they want to sell Nintendo online. Because Nintendo's like, if we could just get one of the greatest third-party AAA studios to create us a online exclusive Souls-like experience, we'll get tons of money, tons of people subscribing to Nintendo Online. And with Mario Kart World and the GameCube collection, we'll take over the world. Like some evil mastermind, right? But it's just like, all you did for me was shatter my hopes and dreams. All you did was upset and frustrate and disappoint me. And I know I cannot be the only one. If you thought this was going to be enough to pull in Fromsoftware's fans to the Switch 2 ecosystem and entice them, you just did completely the opposite. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be a fantastic live service game that everybody jumps for, but I just don't see it happening. I really don't. And regardless if it is successful or not, I won't be supporting it because it's not what I thought it was. The way you advertised that on that direct, you gave no indication that it was a live service game whatsoever. You made it look like a proper Souls-like. You made it look like a sequel to Bloodborne 2. It looks like Bloodborne unused assets put into this game, right? That's what you made it look like. Just like you lied about Elden Ring. You made us all believe that Elden Ring was coming physically to the Switch 2. And what is it? A keycard release. A keycard release. So you didn't just disappoint us once, you disappointed us twice. But I'm getting way too heated, and we haven't even got further into this article, so let's continue. It just baffles me that they would even make this PvPvE game in the first place, is because what Miyazaki says. So they said, it sounds like even those who tend to shy away from PvP can still enjoy themselves. And Miyazaki says, that was the intention. I personally am not much of a PvP person. I wanted to make something that satisfied even for players like me. So you don't like PvP games, but you're wasting development time and money on a genre of game that you don't like or care about, instead of giving the Nintendo Switch 2 a real Souls-like experience. No, you're going to give us live service nonsense when you just said you don't like PvP games. Make it make sense to me, please. Why? Why, Miyazaki? Why couldn't you just give us a real Souls-like? Maybe I could have looked past this if we actually got a proper physical release for Elden Ring on the Switch 2. But we know how that turned out, don't we? Ah! Now I'm just straight up disappointed. As a Souls fan, this just breaks my heart, man. You got my hopes so high for both of these games on Switch 2. And you dashed my dreams to pieces. You shattered them into so many pieces that it's not just an impossible to put back together. Shame on you, Nintendo. Because Switch and Nintendo fans deserve way better. They deserve a proper Souls-like experience. And they deserve a proper experience of Elden Ring. Shame.